Your mind can keep you well. Your mind can make you well, but you have to have your soul has to get better first. Otherwise you can't do it. Your soul has to be in control of the rest of your mind. But God has to be in control of your soul, because it's His machine. You are meant to be directly related to your Creator. And the Creator for a Chinese person is the same Creator as us, except they're caught up in communism or Buddha or whatever. And we don't have to be caught up in anybody's religion. Jesus came to save you from religion. Jesus didn't come to make a religion. Look what you got. You got apostate religion. I tell my people on the radio, I said, American Christians have apostate religions. I don't care how nice it is to go to church. Verse, chapter, listed some bore. Or not some bore. Some very sophisticated, intellectual, charming people. Don't help you. Some people get it. Small percentage get it. But some people are just caught up with an intercessor other than Jesus. Jesus didn't leave any books. He says, you don't need a book. You just need someone who loves you and understands the way. And that way got lost when all the disciples gone. Then it began to. But he predicted that there would be this era of apostate Christianity. It's in the scripture. It's predicted. But that's how. The only way, basically, you can spread Christianity is the false way, so that everybody can get the words and chapters, which are very nice, but don't have to live it. But at least they got the verses and chapters out there, and they got the translation, so it had to happen that way. I get it. Okay.
Roy, can we further the discussion we had during the seminar about our lack of original thought, either coming from our demon or God-centered, versus free will and us choosing, being awake to choose God or choose not to choose God?
Or to be saved from a choice. See, you don't choose God. You long for Him. You long for salvation. You cry. See, so there's like a soul crying. And because you are born inheriting the fault of the first man who chose. He chose to choose.
Choose to fall.
So the fault is choosing. Your sin is to think you can choose your way and to set your goals and create your world and sit on a throne and say, see, I did it.
I understand that concept, and it rings true to me. But the part I struggle with is...
Don't struggle, just tell me what it is.
The part I'm conflicted with, or
yeah,
however you want to say it, is if God doesn't want puppets, He wants us to choose Him willingly.
That's correct.
And if we don't have an original thought, all our thoughts are generated by one or another. How do we choose?
There's two kinds of non-original thoughtlessness. How to say it? There's two kinds of original thought, which you don't have. You do not have an original thought in your head. You're all typecast. Everybody's a typecast person. You ever see? You ever watch a movie? You can recognize that they got talent people talent agencies who pick out the kind of person that you are, or somebody else is, or the preacher, the phony preacher, or the bully preacher, or the rapist, or the bartender. And then the idiot that sort of talks to the bartender about his problems, and whatever. And then the little floozy that sort of enjoys choosing her victims and going home with them. And all the process of thought. We're all replacement people, and we die as replacement people. We're born a goat and die a goat. So I can look around at every person, say, I know what you're thinking. First of all, how many people have had make an excuse? Everybody. There's no such thing as a person who never made an excuse. Then there are some people who say, which one of you would say, but doesn't everybody? That's another excuse.
Excuse for the
You
excuse.
excuse the excuse. That's why you're dead. The excuse is the prevention. Excuse is worse than the sin. You're defending what did it to you.
Can I say one thing to him, Rod?
Yeah, please.
You say you're
Do you have a microphone here? Hey, we'll give you one.
You say you're conflicted with choosing, but when you're given to see, there's no choosing. That's what I would say to you.
Well, no. You are choosing. You inherit thinking you're choosing.
You're trapped in choosing. But
You're trapped in
when God
even when
gives
you're
you,
choosing the right thing.
when God of the light gives you to see, then you're saved from choice.
Well, even then, even not that. That's a very good. Let's play with that. Let me play with it. You can sit down if you want. I think you're holding your pants up. They can't see you're holding something else. Say that again.
When God gives you to see, you're saved from choice.
Yeah.
Because He's just showing you where to go and what to do. And you're no longer faced with a plethora of choices and you have to choose.
Well, it's a very, very complex answer I have to give you. So let me try it. If you're not damaged early, or too damaged early, the first thing you see is everybody doesn't see. And you think you're crazy. At first, as a little kid, you try to express yourself. And then your parents, but nobody seems to understand you, that you seem to be, when you go to school, the kids will make fun of you because you're different. Because all the kids are screwed. So when you're upside down, you have offended by the people that are right side up. So you come into the world where people are upside down and you're right side up. Every child comes into the world right side up. But then, and so he travels along a certain path where he's actually smarter than his parents. The children, when you laugh at children, if you listen to my grandchildren when we're 2 or 3 years old, and even 10 years old, they will correct their mother. Say, "Mother, would you play?" I can't remember all of it. I really should have. They should have a recorder on for all these sayings and collect them, because it's astonishing, just the way the kids say it. The minute children get a vocabulary, they don't just repeat words. They're able to inculcate, in shape the spirit of questioning. And so the only thing I can remember is, just because I keep repeating it, that's why I remember it. My grandchildren will say to the mother, at 3 years old, "Excuse me, mother, would you mind turning around the radio? I can't hear my thoughts." And I've always, David has always encouraged his kids, the second letter kids, that to speak up to mother and to speak up to father. And we talk to the mother and say, you need to listen to what your children say, because they're boys and you're a woman. And Mary called her son Lord. In other words, a woman must never talk down to anybody, especially a boy. Because a boy at 3 is smarter than she is. He's more aware than she is. And she needs to be aware. There's the order, men rule. Men must be respected. That in that sense. But especially in a boy. And if a wife or mother takes counsel with a 3-year-old son, he becomes brilliant. But if there's something in a woman that wants to suppress that, because many women hate men, they're born with a linear, generational loathing for the hierarchy of men. That's original sin. And that's the woman that needs to be perfected by a strong man. The best thing that ever happened, I married the wrong woman. You've got to marry the wrong woman, you can't marry the right one. If you marry the right one, you don't have any practice dealing with wrong ones. Because you need that practice. I have the 60th year of arguing with my wife, but she never gets her foolish way. That's how she's safe. Oh, my wife loves me. She may not like me sometimes. I don't like her all the time. But you see, so if I haven't been out for 10, I said, when you start being sensible, I'll go out with you. But she doesn't get sensible. She makes excuses. She goes this way and that way. She has this sort of dishonesty. The inability, the unwillingness to see, but the unwillingness to see because she wants her way. And when you want your way, you can't be honest. And you don't like honesty. And she tries me. I'm okay with it. She screwed my kids when she was small, but I'm saying it. I say it on the radio. And she listens, she knows it's true. She's used to it now. But I'm not living a perfect life. I can't live I'm living a life I perfect. So the worst it is I'm okay. I don't want to make it worse so I can be okay and clever. It is what it is. I'm okay with that. And you have to be, by the same token, you have to be okay with your wives. She's not married, you got what you deserve. You got what you deserve. Every now and then you get a gracious lady. But I wasn't deserving of it. Or I was meant to learn all about women through my wife. You really have to be married to it. Then you find out they're all like that. To varying degrees. Now, I know that not all of them, some are easier. For instance, if you have a nice wife, professor, but she gives you she's got to give you a little bit of a hard time sometimes, right? Admit it. He admitted it. Fun? What?
I'll have to pledge the fifth.
The Fifth Amendment. But I can tell you that she's a good woman. And a good woman, but she's a woman, and you have to take her to task every now and then. Otherwise you wouldn't be in it. You'd be just like, blah. Because the whole secret of success in life is dealing with your wife. If you can't deal with your wife, she needs to be dealt with. The best one love you for it. You love him for it, right? It's the Fifth Amendment.
I made him what he is today.
Oh God! Oh please! Well, actually, you did. You helped. You can make him what he is. You can make him, but he'd be horrible. But since he's not horrible, you helped him to become a stronger person by giving him a hard time, not yielding when you're right, in a gracious way. That's very valuable. And then you can say, I helped make him what he is by giving him a hard time, allowing him to correct you, or standing your ground and holding your ground without anger, so he sees what's wrong with himself. And not nag him. Because men are able, if you just hold your ground and not get upset, the man has capabilities beyond your wildest dreams to actually see himself doing wrong. So you don't have to nag him. All you have to do is not be more wrong than him, not rebel. See that? See how simple it all gets? See? You're a lucky man. Nice son. All right. Now, This is a kind of a, I don't know if we're going to have any exorcisms today, are we? Oh yeah, you need to come up and sit here. Okay, stand your ground.
I just wanted the answer. Here, his thing. What was it? This man said. I didn't get the answer.
James,
Yeah.
this is James. We never got to that, did we? We never got to that. So, question me again.
It was just an observation because
Well, we need to stay on that. I got off the subject.
the gentleman was observing how he had a dilemma with choice. Sure.
Well, was that your question?
Yeah, the dilemma of
And
choice.
you answered it.
And I said the thing that saves you from choice is like, if you're receptive to like God's light, it's this thing that you understand, you look, you see, and then there's no choice. You just see what to do. You see where to
Actually,
go.
you have to live the choiceless life. In other words, if I go into the Marines, I don't have a choice. Once I sign up for the Marines, sir, yes sir, which hill do you want me to die on?
But that
Correct?
is what I'm saying. If you see there's only one way to go ahead of you and you go that way, there's no choice in that.
Well,
It's
there
just
you
common
are.
sense.
But why are you not that way to begin with? Because you were born
That's
into
right.
it.
Because you're egotistical and you think you have to make choices, and that's a fun house that it's all full of mirrors, and there's no escape from
But
that.
how did you get that way? You were born
Our heritage.
with two forces waiting on you. One, you're born with intuition, but you're a little boy, little girl, and so Adam was a little boy in his mind. He was a full-grown person, but you couldn't expect him to deal with a serpent. You couldn't, and that's understandable. God. Now we're going to be philosophical. God wants to create love. Can't do it. That's the one thing he cannot do. Can you imagine? God can do everything except make you love him. Because that wouldn't be love.
That's the free will.
See, so there's your free will. But he only gave one person the free will. Because everybody else would have died. Because if you say you shall surely die, then if everybody's born like that, and the temptation comes along and we're not able to deal with it, we're all dead. We get thrown out of the garden, we all make excuses. Right? So, in his wisdom, he creates Adam and Eve. Takes clones a woman out of man. Clones. Well, we can understand cloning. Why does he do that? Because the end relationship between a man and a woman is very much like that. I know how to say it, but I'm not sure I can say it. I'll try. I'll make a long journey to it, a little bit of a long journey to it. And so, he eats the fruit, okay? But that's like taking a dollar bill off your father's night table, the impulse. And then you make the excuse, because something gives the child the impulse. The impulse usually came from mother planting it in him when he's born. Women are born with a loathing of men. Not so much of a loathing, but a rebellion, a desire to conquer, to shape him in her image. See? But there's a sort of an angst, an enmity toward the hierarchy of men. But that's not her. That's not her original thought. That is something she's born with because the first woman wasn't loved. He gave himself. He yielded to the temptation, made the excuse for her. So the dark side, through her, got them both. Okay. So that is that. So then comes the excuses, and then cast out of paradise, which is just a metaphor. Because I don't think it's much of a paradise. It's just a better, nice part of the world that isn't there anymore, right? So, and then it says, and thistles and thorns, by the sweat of your brow you will earn your bread. That's work therapy. You see how much better that makes people, right? Idleness, work therapy is great, hard work, but it brings you nothing but trouble anyway. That's what he said. So shall a man leave his mother and father and become bonded to the woman as one flesh. That's the continuation of the curse. Because first of all, women came out of men. Now men come out of women. Now the Bible says man born of woman. How else could he be born? God created him, gave birth to him, and breathed life into him, and took a piece of him and made him that way. And you know what a helpmeet means in Hebrew? Helper against him. That's the Hebrew for it. Helper against him. Just right on the money. And it just says a lot. Every woman is a helper against him. And so therefore when a man leaves his mother and father, he actually has the same relationship Adam in his fallen state had with Eve. Eve is in charge of Adam, and every woman is in charge of man from the beginning of time, and it's very, very difficult to deal with women. You either give in to them or beat them to death. Or divorce and find another one, and she beats you to death. Good. See that? There is no way out. There is no other way. Or you have two people, liberals, in a, what do they call it, when a Mexican standoff, and there's no truth spoken in the house. See? Yes, dear. Anything you say, dear. How was your night, dear? How was yesterday? Good meeting with the board of directors, dear. Oh, thank you, dear. That's all it is. Dead. Children come into that. One boy went out and joined the Taliban to try to be a man. You remember that one? I forget his name, but he got sick of it, and he wanted to be a man. He wanted to be a fighter. This is the system he came into. This is America. I'm going to be a Taliban. Blame the parents. Blame your system if you want to, because that's real. So now, choice, right? So you do see if a woman's in charge, she has no choice but to be in charge, if you let her. See that nice lady over there? If he was a weakling, she'd hate him. Am I right? See that? Now they're not taking the fifth here? He's not a weakling. See? You love him for his strength. Gentle strength. You need to be loved. There's not... Men are protective. And in the animal world, the female could be, the defender, and the one that makes the living like lionesses. And the lion sits and does nothing. And growls and reproduces. And kills the offspring so he doesn't get any competition. But the animal world's weird. In all its sexual practices, everything is weird. But we have a decorum, and we have to discover that decorum of what it means to be human. We have to understand the rules of the road. And you have it when you're born. And so what I've done with you is, hopefully, returned you to that level. And you have to keep returning. You have to keep listening and not being afraid to lose your lover, lose your friends, lose your money, lose arguments. You only lose if you want to win. You can only lose if you get upset and try to win. You only lose if you get upset and try to go along to get along for peace, because that's the only box you live in. There is no other way. So we're all born with the same state of mind Adam had. That's called being born into sin. And when you come into the world, you come into a world of ruined brats. I mean, my son Mark said to me, He said the school, I took him out of school, he said, but the kids were worse than the teachers. It was the kids that was, see? Look at the kids today. They're all encouraged to be demoralized. And generations of generations have forgot to be parents. They don't know how to be a parent. And I can understand, but so I can remember communism, the idea of communism, take your kids away from the parents. I can understand how they think. I'm not going to agree with them. I can understand, yeah, we're going to take those kids away from the parents. Look what they're doing to them. But they're not any better. They're worse in a worse way. But I understand the thinking, how they're rationalized. We need to reverse all that, don't we? We need to be good parents. Saying, see, we can do better than you. That's it. So now I'm coming back to Paradise Lost. If a man could be taught or shown how to be gracious to a woman and not look at them like a ice cream sundae sort of thing, and restrain himself, modify his behavior, even though he's rearing to go. But the point is, that's discipline. And then a woman sees that. She sees that all the other women are teasing him, but he doesn't yield. And the one that's looking on and watching this man has respect for him. And that's the only way you're going to find the right kind of woman that will respect you, because you're not a womanizer. If you're a womanizer, the only kind of woman you get is a bad one. And then the bad one will give you what you want, and you get worse, and she gets worse. And it's misery. And there's rules in this. You make each other's worse. You make each other worse. And the fault of it is the man. The fault is not the woman. The fault is the man. Does that all make you women feel a little better now? And then you stop cursing me under your breath? So, who cursed me under the breath? Get out of your system. Yes.
So, when a woman doesn't have a man, what's the woman's role?
To be a woman.
To be a woman.
To be a woman, meaning you are an independent woman, start a business. Independent woman, if you're a pretty woman, you have a lot of dogs after you, the pack. Yeah. See? And you can pick anyone you want, and that's the worst one. See, so you need to find, if you find the truth in your heart, and you live it, you don't send out the pheromones of signals of need. You don't send it. You send another signal of men afraid to approach you.
That was Therese.
Huh?
She's a pretty woman. She was independent.
Your wife.
Yes, and it's like the dogs didn't sniff around. They avoided her.
Yeah.
Except for one that was.
When you say dog sniffing around, it does say, but it's about right. So, you're a pretty lady. You're intelligent. Fend for yourself. Save your money. Be a loner. It's okay. You won't be alone. Just be a loner. And there'll be plenty of guys coming after you, but you just reject. In a way, no thank you. Kind of attitude. Some of them will be pushy. You don't want those men. But there's some to be watching from a distance. They want to see how you behave, whether you rush out with every Tom, Dick and Harry. See? Because if you do that, you're going to miss the run you should have. See that?
My concern is more for my children, their
Yeah,
absence of
you
a
have
father.
children. Yeah.
Can I be the father and the mother in one?
Oh yeah. Oh yes. A noble woman, if you, in the course of America's evolution, and women's standing by their husbands, and the husbands die, and she picks up the musket and fights for her children. Doesn't that tell you something? Mm-hmm. Right. And then you'll be that person. Your husband is there, gone, or he's no damn good, one of the two. You're left with the kids. Mm-hmm. Then you have the authority of God as a woman. But if you have male children, be sure to, well, all the children must be loved with respect, but pay especially attention to the male children as to the advice they give you. See? You consult all of them, but listen to all of them so you don't... But the male children from 2 or 3 years older, 5 years old, they're brilliant. They have insights you're not capable of. My mother turned to me. I didn't do a bad job, I was 13. That's what made me. She looking to me. That made my brother jealous and killed him, basically. He's nuts. He hates me. Even though I helped him to get a degree, took him with me everywhere, took him to Africa, gave him and paid his way, no appreciation.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we haven't answered your question yet. We'll come to it.
What I noticed when you're on the job, to do the best thing that you can, even though nobody seems to notice you,
yes,
and that you're doing a good job, someone is watching,
yes,
someone is seeing, and you get the benefit of that. You never know when it's going to happen.
That's correct.
But it's going to happen.
You never know when it's going to happen because you can't force it, and you're not looking for that anyway.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing that's going to happen with you. You're going to.
He's right.
That it will come at a time you don't expect it.
Yes. This is the circumstances you don't control, but you create the you enter a circumstance. You enter a realm where people will see, that's the man I want working for me. See? It's all unspoken. You radiate it. And you give
the
them
people around you don't see it.
Huh?
The people around you don't see it. The ones that you
They
interact
get jealous
with.
of you. They may get jealous of you. I was working in a diamond cutting factory, and everybody was swearing. All these were World War I veterans. My uncle was knighted by the Queen for the work he did by putting veterans to work without legs, and he taught them a trade, and they made a good living. And they're nice people, basically nice people. A lot of them were swearing, and it was it was a sweatshop. And so I learned a trade there. No, I forgot my point. What was your point again?
People see you when you don't think.
So I try to correct a scene, and I forget what I'm going to put in the scene, what actor I'm going to put in there. But there was one young man that never said a whole lot. He did work, quiet, and you can't help but notice him because he's so different from all the others. Now, it wasn't my lot to be what he became, because I have another future. But I knew that one day he would be the manager of that company. So fast forward 20 years, he's the manager, not the others. And all the others, when I came to visit them 30 years later, a lot of them starting to be old men, still sitting behind the wheel, day after day, going home and on the way home, being so dissatisfied and unhappy about life in a sweatshop, and in passing the local pub and getting drunk. No meaning. I got meaning. I'm starting on my physics. I've discovered gravity. I have. I know exactly how it works. No one's ever... Feynman said that nobody ever... Feynman, he's a famous physicist, gave lectures, very famous Nobel Prize winner. He said no one's ever found the machinery of gravity, and no one has since. I've discovered the machinery. But you know why? I am not educated. because your education gets in the way. So there are very few theoretical physicists, because a theoretical physicist has to have a free mind. And so when you go through physics, it's very hard to be a theoretical physicist, because your brain, your learning gets in the way of it. It gets in the way of common sense. Now, if you're a physicist and you are an engineer and you learn it, you can still be mechanical and put very sophisticated things together, because you're a machine. You know how to do this, you know how to do that. But a theoretical physicist shouldn't have an education at all. Einstein just go, his worst suit was math. He got how to get help with it. But his best suit was wanting to know. And he never attended classes. He just took the notes of other people. I had a fella one time, remind me to come back to free will, okay? I had a fellow, a very intellectual fellow, in the very early days of me being on radio. And he'd visit me, and he'd try to argue with me. And he'd walk away, he'd always win. But in his argument, he would quote Socrates and Plato and all the rest of it. And so, when I told him, I said, you know what? I don't read very much, but I'm very happy for you to come around, because you've picked up the choice words that I would, so I can remember all that. Because I don't have to read all those books. You're helping me to give me the choice pieces. That's what Einstein did. He got the choice pieces. He recognized them. I have a whole collection of choice pieces. I don't need them all. And then he got mad. I didn't come back again. He didn't want to teach me anymore. Now, back to you. Well, it's very simple. In the beginning, it's a long explanation, I know, but we played with it a little bit. In the beginning, you have the insight to make a right choice. The trouble is, you have the restrictions of people who are offended by that. Your parents, you've got to obey your parents and not obey yourself. So everybody has a problem with authority. It's authority. And so once you start to respond to authority and start to adapt, so you send your kids to school and he doesn't adapt because he doesn't like school. He doesn't like the stupid teacher. And the teacher is really stupid. And the teacher especially picks this kid because he's brighter than she is. So we're back again, I'm sorry. We've got to go back to this.
You're subject to wrong authority. You come into the world.
Yeah. So therefore, your decisions are made for you, and then there's rebellion, but then you're not. Then you're suppressed. The good for you is imprinted on you, but it's not the good for you, because if you had a parent that understood you and waited for you to cry and waited for you to finish, and then the little boy will go say, "Dad and Mom, I don't know what came on, but I'm sorry." Okay, son. So let's talk about it now. Then you can talk about what's really right, and the kid sees it's right. And then there's a process of correction. The kid grows up beautiful. But it doesn't happen that way, does it? So the kids know what right and wrong is. And the problem is always being confounded by right. What is right? Because the world's nuts. Really nuts. You're going to cry in a minute. You came. It's all right. I'm with my best friend here. So the world is completely crazy. America is absolutely nutty as a fruitcake. Remember I said and I didn't say this. On the left, you got socialists or communists, willful SOBs, right? And they've got the power. On the other side, you've got, what's his name?
Romney.
No, not Romney. No. On the other side, you got the Speaker of the House. What's his name? Boehner. That's one weak pissant. It's weak. I remember his relationship with Nancy Pelosi. I don't know what she did, I forget, but she kissed him.
When he came up to take the
Yeah.
gavel from her.
I see him. And I see that she honored him. She gave a good speech and then passed the gavel to him and kissed him. And he's done. He's already converted. He doesn't know it. He's weak. And if I was George Bush and I, Speaker of the House Pelosi, let's give some real life things. And Speaker Pelosi, who's not, he's a fruitcake. They're chosen to be. Don't you understand? They're meant to be not as a fruitcake. Don't worry about this bill. Let's pass it, and we'll see what's in it. The whole country should have got up and marched to be talked to that way. Then I had another one. There's a general, and there's a certain lady, and she says, a certain lady senator, and the general was being questioned. I just remember bits and pieces of it. I'm going to come back to Pelosi in a minute because they're going to get too mixed up in a minute. But she says to the general, please don't talk to me this. I spent 20 years becoming a senator. And so you say, and she says, yes ma'am. And what he should have said, I spent 30 years becoming a general, you shut up.
That was General Petraeus to Senator Barbara Boxer.
It was Barbara Boxer, was it? Because you got all that research. But I just remember the moment. I said, no, my God, how did he crumble? So, what was the first one I did? What was the one I said before that? Oh, Nancy Pelosi. If I was George Bush, and she's becoming the Speaker of the House, I would say, well, this is interesting. Now that you're Speaker of the House, I would like to know if you still think that our soldiers are baby killers, whatever it is. Please, because you still, that's what you've been saying all these years, right? Silence. Because if you do, we don't do business. He didn't. Everybody would have stood up and say, hooray! You only need one moment like that to make everybody happy. You just know him. That's why the people have to get better. You can't depend on your leaders anymore. You don't want to be led. You're sovereign people. Why do you need a leader? You're going to vote away your constitution. The German people voted away their constitution. In Russia, they got a constitution just like us, but you don't dare stand up for it. They kill you. Or they didn't under Stalin. When are you going to learn your lessons? But I'm only speaking to half a dozen people. There's not many people here. What good is it? I'm going to put this up on the web, though. But still, it's a lot of words. I don't know if they'll ever get to this end of seminar talk. But back to choice. So what you're really saying is this. There are two states of not having an original thought in your head. The good and the bad. Because if I'm speaking to you, I'm not speaking from me having an originating thought. But if I don't originate, something has to originate through me. So I speak extemporaneously with an occasional senior moment, and it is what it is, but it's real. It's only real when you're speaking from that originating source. But also, When you're a bad guy, you're speaking from an originating source. So Reverend Wright has a lot of people who are irrelevantly, help me say that word, irreverently wrong.
The other side of the coin.
Yeah. And so, but it's a big army. He makes a lot of money. The RS don't go after him. Besides the way, when it all ended and I was okay, I still wasn't happy. Because I made the argument that people outside, I only have a small following. I don't have a following because they all go away and get better. So I can't have just 25 people here every week, can't make it. I'm reaching the world, right? It's a worldwide church. But the argument I was making is that the churches, I have followers outside the church that support me. But they want to have that. And so, even though I won, they couldn't default me because I qualified anyway, squeaked through, according to the rules of the IRS. But I lost on the grounds that people have to be inside the church and you can't sit outside your car and listen, which is ridiculous. But never mind, that's liberals. These are judges. So I said, but I still won. I still got my non-profit status. I have the same status as the Catholic Church. That's what it is. So this is the third try. So I decided to take it to the Supreme Court. Bang. And the Supreme Court began they have a name for it being considered. And that shocked the crap out of them. And my lawyer says, you poked them in the eye, they leave you alone. But they were picking on me to start a new law which would apply to everybody else. So they thought I was a weak vessel. So I think I'm okay now. For a little while. But I can't mention any name of candidates. I can just say they're dirty bastard. And you know who I mean. You mean to say you believe that too? They question me. Now you know who I'm talking about, but I didn't say that. Now, I've been talking for 2 hours. Can you believe that? It's ridiculous. I've been standing up for 2 hours. That's even more ridiculous. Now, this afternoon, we've got some time. Would you like to come up, or you feel like you want to come and sit, young lady here? I want to know what you discovered yesterday. Please come up. So what any experience you had yesterday?
I had a lifting of some.
I'll hold
yeah,
that.
it came
I'll
over
hold
me
that for you.
for about 20 minutes, and it came down again, but it was still
Something left
lifting.
behind. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I felt more,
Free.
Yeah, something.
Isn't it sweet to be free?
Yeah.
Well, you really need to learn to not ruminate with your thoughts. You know, like cow chewing the cud, up it comes and up it comes and up it comes, and you get angry with yourself and you're angry. This is what I want you to stop, but you don't know how to stop it. I want to teach you how to stop it. Would you like to learn that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to use hypnosis again. Do you mind?
Okay. No.
Yeah, that's nice. Thank you. You can put. I'll put this here. Look, close your eyes. Now, do as I say. You can't open your eyes right now. See if you try it. See what's happening. You're in a trance again. Your head's falling forward. Isn't that sweet? Now, I just want to talk to the audience while I talk to you, but you can listen too, okay? You see? Post-traumatic stress disorder or suggestion? Do you understand this? I knew exactly. I didn't have to do anything. But it's a good rapport. I have a nice relationship with you, don't I?
Yes.
It's good. And I have a nice enough relationship with you. You feel love. You feel the love you never had from your parents. Not spoiled love, a corrective love. The father you never had. Do you know the father you never had is within you? You've always had him. But not a physical father. The father of a father, you know, a good father. That's the good part. Could I play that role, please? Okay. Well, this father loves you and is giving you a protection. And you realized that your mom was manipulating and living through you, living from your weakness, making you dependent upon being close to her. Isn't that right? It's not good. She had to rob you of your freedom and your individuality to do that. But let's say she was hurt too as a kid, insecure, and then she didn't have a husband that was suitable. So she found security in her own children and sacrificed them, but didn't know she was doing it. She thought she was loving you by pumping up. She wasn't. She was degrading you. Do you see that? Can you forgive that?
Yeah.
Can you forgive it? You know, because there's something good in the forgiveness, isn't there?
Yeah.
Meaning letting it go, because as long as you hate it and resent it, it sort of transfers the control of your mom transfers to everybody. See, because when you start to submit to people, places, things, it affects cultures. When you go into different cultures, suddenly the culture controls you. And the people in the culture control you. See that? Because you came from a culture that was controlling you and making you weak for them. That's why you couldn't say no to the guy. All you saw was the lips, right? You know, all you saw, you just saw it coming toward you, you just to give into it. But that's not going to happen anymore. Ever again. If you agree with that, I wipe it all clean. Nothing's important. And if any thought should rise, you know, because there may be thoughts in you and experiences with you haven't shared with me, but they will come up. And they will come up as you start to speak up for yourself. And not worry about what people think. This is your right to speak up. Is an absolute necessity for you to have your own sense of worth that's worthwhile. The worthwhile sense of worth comes from seeing clearly, because you can see clearly. You're not stupid. You're not feeble. You came equipped with common sense. And you trust that common sense. But your mother made you not cut. Other people make you not trust it. That's faith. It doesn't feel like anything. Faith doesn't feel anything. It doesn't feel anger, because there's no anger. It doesn't feel praise when people praise you. You don't need it. You are, at this moment, when you leave this room, a different person. And inasmuch as you listen to your common sense, which is a learning curve, if you make a mistake or two, it's okay. Got it? Oh, that's what I did wrong. You recover right away. You're a sweet little thing, you know that? Now, I'm not praising you. I'm saying you are really innocent, because you have never done anything in your life wrong. You've been made to do it. You were compelled to do it because you lost control. Your consciousness sort of was set aside. You do understand me, don't you? Now I want you to look at your eyelids quietly. See, look at your eyelids. Can you see no thought there, can you? But hear my voice though, can't you? Now you'll be guided by voice upwardly. Now if you make your fingers tingle, I want you to feel your hands tingling, both of them. See? Feel your hands and they get warm. Can you feel that? Yeah. Can you feel warmth in your heart? Warmth in your solar plexus? Warmth. Can you feel it? Can you feel something descending from your mind, inside, into your whole being. Can you feel that? See it? Feel it? Just be aware of something different happening. You raise your head in strength. I want you to feel strong, but not because it's an illusion, because you are getting stronger. You are being fed by a new energy from the God within you, who forgives you for everything you did because you never did anything wrong. It was your mother acting through you and everybody else. So you can't take on that burden. You're free. Nobody, now from now onwards, after you leave this place, no one will be able to hypnotize you, or influence you, or upset you, or make you feel important. You don't need all that. You will go through life, and life won't go through you anymore. Do you see what I just said? You understand that too. You are a poetic and intellectual person. You understand. The boat goes through the water doesn't go through the boat. You go through life, and you go through it untouched by anything. Nobody could touch you. Nobody, in that sense, nobody can hurt you, because you're not hurtable. You don't take offense. You know that people they're really dumb and they don't know what they're really doing, but you don't judge them. You got that? You can resist anything just by seeing it's not right. And you can do anything by seeing it makes sense. When you leave this room, you'll be forever changed, and no one can change that. And no one can get to you hypnotically. What I did, no one ever can do that to you again. Ever. And if you agree to that, you may open your eyes. If you don't agree to it, we'll still talk. Do you agree? Do you like that, all that I said? There you are. Welcome to Munchkin Land. Things look different, don't they? How do you feel? Speak from your heart. And speak boldly. No hesitation. With confidence.
Feel all right, I think. I would, yeah.
Give me a kiss. With no compulsion. Now, the question is, well, I'm trying to... The what? Oh, glasses, yeah. She even forgot she had glasses. Didn't have glasses. Your eyes should get better. I think the eye problem is that stress. You might find that get better now. Where's the lady with the tank, with the oxygen? She left. She actually said to me she forgot to take a tank with her yesterday for quite a long time. See, so kind of sweet. I think. What was this young lady's name again? What's your name? Catherine. Catherine, you go home. You'll be fine.
Okay.
And if you have a problem, you can call me from England.
Okay.
I'll give you my home number.
Oh, thanks.
I'll have someone give you my home number. Ask you give it. Brian will give it to you. I don't think you're going to need it. If you meditate, if you go close your eyes, look at your eyelids and make your fingers tingle, it will keep alive. Everything I said will stay alive. Do that whenever for a few minutes every day.
Okay, thank you.
That's all. And is your mother still alive?
Yeah.
Stay away from her.
She is. Really?
Keep away from your mother. She'll undo it.
Okay.
Keep her away from her mother. There's a little drawing to her. That's the root of she's the root of the conditioning. but it's now to me. And you put you in charge. So you just say, listen to what Roy said. That's all you have to do. Now you do see now? I said close your eyes, right? And she was in the same state. But if you take I'm in the military, and I'd hypnotized the whole platoon for entertainment. But I'm not exactly proud of it, but it's what I learned. And so, now again I forget the point. When I start to make an analogy, I often forget the point.
You were saying how she quickly closed her eyes with your words.
No, it's in my head. You're not going to be able to get it. But anyway, I'll finish the story. The story's interesting. But I didn't have to clean my rifle. I did the Blanco webbing. Now my shoes were always nice. They were living under post-traumatic stress disorder or post-traumatic suggestion. You can give it the right name. They got the enemy, it's me. And they brought home the enemy. So all I have to say is sit down, close your... Oh yeah. So here comes now remember the argument and the point and the situation. So I'm sitting in a pub. I don't drink. I didn't have enough money to drink. I sent money home to my mother. So we're talking about hypnosis. Everybody's saying, how do you do this? I said, well, can you hypnotize me? I says, you're already hypnotized. I don't have to. He said, what do you mean by that? I said, you're hypnotized, and you don't know it. I'm 18 years old. Well, he says, well, you prove it to me. I said, what you got in your hand? What you got your hand on is a mug of beer. You can't pick that up. He says, I can. I said, no, you can't. He couldn't. It's called waking hypnosis. I took over. I was authoritative. I know some people you can't do that to. I know the ones that can do it. He was one of them. I didn't have to do anything. Just tell him he couldn't. Well, that's what his father and mother did to him. I just took over that role. Hitler can take over a whole nation of people like that. It's much easier because he has political power and rules and people to enforce it. I would have America be different, because America is different. It was when I came here, as a whole. You understand hypnosis? See how quick? Like that. Now, I use it good. I use it in a good way. I use it in a way to you see, Freud, so that you listen to what I'm saying. Freud used hypnosis and never succeeded. I use hypnosis. You give me permission. I go into your head. I wash out everything with your permission. But then I put you back in charge of what I washed away. So you don't have to fight it. So in other words, there's a light inside you that will keep you ever from being it all washed back again. And you have to learn not to be angry and not frustrated and speak up for yourself. Stay away from your mother for a while. Until when you're strong enough, go kick her butt. All right, in a nice way. Hey, mother, I've learned something. You could say something like this. I have confession to make. I did something wrong to you. What do you mean, dear? Well, I hate your guts. That's what was wrong. I resented you all these years and became your slave. So I'm sorry for that, but you're still a bitch. I'm saying it stronger than you need to say it. But I'm just making a point. You're only, because I couldn't help it. When I was a kid, I resented you, and then I went along with you, and I resented you, and I get weak. But what I'm sorry for is, but I couldn't help myself. I was a kid and I couldn't handle it. Now I'm a grown-up person. I'm not angry at you anymore. Now I'm going to tell you what you did. But not for me, so you can see what you did. And then she screams at you, expect her to scream and yell at you, say, I don't want to see you anymore. So it's okay with me. Or she'll pick up the phone later on and say, dear, I think you're right. And you've got to be careful of that because she may be lying. See that? You're dealing with a snake. On the other hand, don't judge her for it because it may be real. And then you have a mother again. But if you don't have a mother again, it's okay. She's not your mother. That mother has been altered and transformed, and she'll never be anything different, and you need to keep away from her. Am I right? Making sense? So you don't have to do it right away. Just keep away till you get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, dealing with people. Because people are nuts. You're not. You see clearly. Don't be upset by what you see. That's all. Got it? Good. And you got that power. You have it. It was only taken away from you. I gave you back to it. It's your common sense. See here what I said, common sense? I addressed the upper part. Your consciousness. I addressed the upper part. Says now the upper part, that which has common sense, now naturally becomes the things you do. Or don't do. Just natural. Don't have to figure things out. Just natural. So how I live my life, you will live your life. I live my life. X is I have to do. How else can you do it? That's the only. I can't see this left. I can't see right. I only see what to do. That's easy. If you teach a whole army of soldiers to have respect for the yelling sergeant, to respect, firm. Sergeant shouldn't be degrading. That's not the way you want. If you want a robot soldier, that's what. But if you want, you can say the same thing. Soldier, stand attention. Do as you. No anger in it. Don't scream at him as like he's a piece of dirt. Because if you can do it that way, he becomes demoralized by the real pieces. The worst pieces of dirt he's fighting. You don't want to get him to upset so that he will be a machine under pressure. You want an army of individuals. You know, the Israeli army is a lot better. In the Israeli army, if somebody knows something, if it's somebody who knows more than the commanding officer, the commander's officer will become the soldier for the time being. See? We need to build an army of resilience. You can't build an army of, because they're all coming home with post-traumatic stress disorder. That's because of the training. The training at home, more training. So yeah, you're actually demoralizing our soldiers to send them to war. Not good, is it? 40% come back with it. You know, teachers don't even know how to teach. Parents don't know how to be parents. Nobody knows how. Doctors don't know how to be doctors for the most part. You've got good ones and they're running away. You've got all the expanded healthcare. You won't have any doctors. What good is it? We're just a stupid people. Because we're stupid because we don't understand ourselves. And nobody's going to step forward and really help you understand yourself. Because the devil understands you, that you don't understand yourself, and he understands himself. He understands by his cleverness, he understands your weaknesses. And there are people possessed by that. And they are the ones that become slimy politicians. If America is going to be one nation under God, it better find God. What are you here for?
For the silver bullet.
The silver bullet? That's sweet. Would you mind expressing that a bit better? Would you mind standing so people can hear you back there? Because they will learn from you.
I've done the meditation, but I can't make the leap. I can't get better.
How long have you been doing it?
Oh, a few years.
But you know there's something to it, though, don't you?
Oh, yeah. I can tell that much.
Do you think you're possessed by something? You have...
Oh, yeah.
Would you like to sit down? Yeah. Do you have any traumas in your life?
Just ordinary stuff.
Such as? Do you anything... Was there a time in your life where you were happy?
I don't think so.
So, what was the condition that makes you unhappy? What was the conditions you came from?
Oh, just middle class. There was no...
Nothing exciting? Or something mean? Rejection? Spoiled? Anything?
Oh. I wasn't able to meet my father's expectations. And that
So you felt
was
inferior?
important.
You felt...
No, not inferior.
What did you feel? How's the feeling?
He gave up on me.
He gave up. So like God gave up on you. That was like that?
Well, I never thought of that, but yeah, I guess so.
Well, it's a very important thought. It's a very important distinction. If you hate the Father, you resent the Father, the Father represents God, whether he realizes it or not. You do. He is, God is not a woman, but God is not a man either, but he is masculine. He's whatever that is, men are. And so it's incumbent upon men to be men and be. But was your father well-meaning, or wanted to shape you into his image, or degrade you?
No, he was well-meaning.
He just pushed too hard.
He didn't even do that. I just disappointed him.
All the time.
Yes.
So he never pushed you, but you couldn't do right by him. So you tried to please him. You tried your hardest to please him.
Sort of.
Well, it must have been the beginning where you did, otherwise, you wouldn't have felt the pain of this. So if it wasn't important to begin with. So you must have felt rejected or... And natural for a child. Isn't it natural for a child to want to please their dad? It's natural.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a good thing. But it's... Tell me about your dad a little bit. But he's an alcoholic, was he? No, was he?
Yeah.
Well, so
But if you had been married to my mother, you'd be an alcoholic too.
Well, that tells me about your mother, and that all makes sense.
Well, yeah, it does make sense. It's the same old thing you're talking about.
Yeah. So you resent your mom too.
I didn't resent him. I resented her.
So so this is a bit of a mishmash, but I get it. So you resent your mom, and then you look towards more strongly towards your father. But then he's messed up too, and he hates women.
I think he hated women.
But he resents your mother.
Well, in the end, she won.
What did he die of?
A cancer.
Yeah. How old was he?
78.
Lived a fairly good life, though, didn't he? I mean, long time, that's 78. I'm 84. Don't scare me. What kind of work you do? Are you married now?
No.
Never been married?
Yeah, I was married.
Divorced?
Mhm.
Who were you like? What kind of man did you marry?
I don't think anyone ever characterizes their ex-husband in a very good light.
But
A loser.
Yeah. Why did he look like a loser when you married him?
Yes.
Why did you marry him? To fix him?
No,
What?
no. So my mother would leave me alone. And,
So you really didn't love your husband to
No,
begin with. You
no.
just escaped from your mother, right?
well, yeah, from her criticism.
Yeah, but then it's a sad thing.
It's awful.
It's awful to run from the frying pan into the fire.
Yeah.
So in a sense, it wasn't all his fault. You didn't really love him at all. You just
Right,
used
it wasn't all
just
his
used
fault. It
you
wasn't.
used him. So in a sense, in some way, you like your mum. In some ways.
In a lot of ways, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right. So how do we get rid of all this?
I don't know.
Well, what you're doing is carrying a lot of hate.
Mm-hmm.
Because life doesn't work out for you. See, when you hate your parents, you become your parents. When you hate your father, let's say you hate your mom, and you make up your mind. This, for instance, so you show you that it's a trap. So you hate your mom because you kind of loved your dad, but he didn't know how to deal with it. That's basically the point, right? Isn't it? With him, he didn't know how to deal with it, so
Well,
he
he
killed
didn't know
him.
how to deal with her
Or you.
us or, you know.
But he lost his ability to love because he hated her. He resented her. He couldn't reason with her. He tries to reason with her, and the more he reasoned, the more she outshouted him and degraded him. He gave up.
Mm-hmm.
So you
gave up.
And then you try to love him and help him. You wanted a relationship with him, and he didn't know how to deal with you because he was broken. So when a man's angry and drunk, he's trying to forget himself, and he's really putting aside his common sense, his love for you. Can't help it. But I think you basically kind of loved what was left of your father. You could see inside him he wasn't such a bad guy, right?
He wasn't a bad guy.
No. You know, but you know, that's a good thing. I can help a woman who has a difficult mom, has a broken dad, who gets drunk, but she can still see the goodness of the man in the father. And even though he couldn't live up to his expectations, or whatever you call it, you couldn't find his love, no matter how much you tried. You wanted to love. But I think he may have been. I think you may have felt that love, that you were nagging him, like your mother. See, because of an impatient parent, and change the subject just a little bit. A parent that's impatient and doesn't have love. When the child does something wrong, the child is crying for correction, love, correction. See, and so if the mother or father doesn't have the love, she rejects the child as if the child was the problem. So therefore it justifies not loving the child. If it hasn't got the love, it feels like the child's nagging for something he cannot give.
Mm-hmm.
So he rejects the child to stop the child from crying, but the child cries louder. Please love me. But that seems to him like nagging, a threat. So he retreats. He's conditioned. See how that? It's a conditioning. It would be nice if I can help you like I did with that lady. Want to try?
Okay.
Okay. You want to close your eyes?
Okay.
Let's try. I'll try two approaches. You work hard with your hands? You have arthritis?
No.
No? You all right?
Chewing my fingernails.
Do you? You put salt and pepper on?
They taste okay without it, actually. It works.
Keep your eyes closed for a minute. Let's see if you can follow a simple instruction. You heard me talk about it earlier. Do you think you can look at your eyelids and and in a manner of speaking, you start to see the middle of your forehead? And what you're seeing is that like little pixels of light or some kind of movement or something moving across the screen of the mind, like the sky moving. Can you see that, like things moving around in your forehead but no thought? What do you see?
Almost no thought.
But you hear my voice.
Yes.
But then if you look at your eyelids, what you're looking at is you're separating from thought. That's what's happening. It does that automatically, that you look at your eyelids, you're standing back from your head. It's a very strange thing, but it's part of your therapy. As a matter of fact, it's all of it.
I know how to do that. I finally got that part.
Yeah, good. And then, have you made your hands tingle?
Mm-hmm.
Do they tingle?
You mean right now?
Well, put right hand by your side, and see if you can just keep your. Now, just follow the drill. Look at your eyelids, and see those little pixels or whatever you call them. It's like little movements of light, different colors, against a background of some kind, dark maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, include your hand now. Become aware of your hand. In that state, you can become aware of your hand. And if you be aware of your first finger, it should tingle gently because you're aware of it. Got that?
Yeah.
And now you do the second finger, and transfer the tingling to that. But you could also leave the tingling in the first finger if you want to. And then, and I see that you're doing that because you're nodding head gently. So keep doing that. And until you get to the little finger. Okay? Now go to the thumb. Okay, now, I'm going to do one more thing that I don't need to do, but I think it'd be very valuable if you could be aware of your breathing. Now, but I don't want you to affect your breathing, just be aware of it. And I want you to be aware of your whole head. As if, in other words, your head is sitting on your shoulders. And then if you do that, you'll start to relax. But your head will get heavy a little bit and fall forward. Just be aware of that. Keep the tingling of your fingers. Do you feel the head just getting, like you're inside your head? You know, I'm inside me and you're inside you. And my inside is talking to your inside. It's very much the same. So if you can just be aware of your whole head, just there, and your fingers, see, does it not get a little heavier? Feel more relaxed. And your breathing changing just a little bit. Just
A little bit.
Yeah. Well, now, just keep doing that. Just for a minute. Just, if I want to keep reminding you, just so you don't drift away, to be aware of your head. Now, I'm going to put my hand in front of your forehead here. And I want you to follow the heat of my fingers. The head will follow it. It will follow it, but not purposely, but just because it's natural. So it just is attracted, like it's magnetic. Attracted. Follow it. See, then breathe deeply, gently. You breathe deeply. But don't try. Sort of like be aware of the breath. Okay. Follow the warmth of my hand. Follow it. 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 Follow me. Follow it. Relax. Forgive your mom. Let it go. The love of your dad is good, but resenting him because he couldn't help but reject you, couldn't help himself. Could no more help himself than you could help yourself now. See? But none of us can help ourselves. Parents, his parents, his parents' parents. It's lineage, generational. The only thing that's wrong with you is you're judging them. You can't get love from them. It just wasn't there. But it doesn't mean to say love is not there for you. You have your common sense. Do you love common sense? Do listen to it. Love of common sense, the love of it, is to express it. Never mind. You've been forgiven because you were a little child, you couldn't help yourself. Couldn't help yourself. You've been forgiven everything. Just claim it. Do I assume you're a Christian lady? Just nod gently. Yeah? So I don't think you've grasped the idea that you've been forgiven, really. But here you can. See, in that objective state, the soul is free from tangled thoughts, from being robbed. Your soul is free from entangled thoughts. See, because your thoughts come from emotions. Emotions come from being angry and resentful. And your parents also became broken and twisted by their parents, and so on and so forth. So it's like honor your mother and father. That's what it means. Don't hate them. Just you came into the world through them, and they so deserve some place. And even though they were broken, you're here. So enjoy your life here. And if they were sensible, if they were not broken, they'd wish you. If they could speak to you, if they could express it to them, but they couldn't express the goodness. They were broken. They couldn't. Don't you see that? That's why your father died. Couldn't express it. Couldn't deal with it. He didn't understand. Blocked from understanding. Mother also blocked and programmed to be man killer. See? And you don't want to be that way, do you? Don't want to be. So I tell you now, I've got two states here. One state says, drop all your angers. They don't work for you. Anger is not a defense. Anger is not a defense. It kills you. You see what it did to your parents. One person was overtly angry, one person was inadvertently angry. He was the victim. The victim is impatient and difficult. The bully is impatient and difficult, and the victim is resentfully repressed. They're both sick. Both can't be a parent. But you got a whole new chance. You've been seeking truth, and you're finding it. You've always had it. That's what conflict was all about. But you couldn't live it. That's the problem, because you're angry. Now drop the anger and you can live it. Drop the past. But now is the moment. Now is the moment to accept the light of your Jesus, right? It's always been there. That's why you had conflict. You could be happy with the way you were, but the light inside you couldn't let you be happy with the way you were. But it wasn't the problem. The light wasn't the problem. It was the dark side that kept you from it, kept you angry, kept you being upset with yourself, upset with your thoughts, endless loop of thoughts. Those go away. To the degree that you can let your mother go, it begins. Let your father go, it begins. Your new journey begins. Can you open your eyes now? Hello.
Hello.
Sit down now.
It's a bolus of pressure.
Pressure disappeared?
No, it's there. It's like hatred. Because I don't add on to it much lately, I think it's like... Because I don't add on much to it lately, I think it uncovers, you know...
Well, you're in a business which we won't discuss
pressure.
unless you want to.
I don't care.
You're in the radio business.
Yes.
You want to say who?
Sure. I'm proud of him. His name's Sean Hannity.
Okay. I like him too. It's my friend. And so, but you're in a business where you have under pressure.
Tremendous pressure. Which is fine. It's a fight worth fighting.
But but James, what are you angry about?
I think the anger's from
Because I know
before.
you're a bit hyper. You've always been hyper since I've known you.
What you see when you see that, you see the small child who could see the truth of things, and against all the pressure that would come in to confound that truth and to prevent him from expressing it,
So I'm
he
not
had
quite
to
sure I understand you.
pressure back.
You're seeing you're talking about small children. Are you speaking of other people?
Me.
You. Well, say that again. So say in
I see the truth, Roy.
first person.
I see the truth,
Yes.
but in my lack of faith, in my jerkiness, I think, or actually in a more innocent child, they only strength that they can sum up to push back against a world that pushes at them
Yeah.
is they just generate their own pressure. If you're strong enough, if you're not going to go along, and I've always been independent and strong enough, it's like I'll use that
But you have
pressure.
never been independent in that sense, because it's the.
I'm only coming to that now. The real independence that comes from not pushing back yourself, but just rather not responding.
Do you think you can handle this without going through all this?
I think I might be able to, because I understand it. I don't want to be like...
Yeah, it's quite possible. It's very, very likely that a person with your strength, and I know you, that if you understand something, it happens.
I think I kind of know that.
Well, that's what's going to happen.
But I don't want to hesitate.
That's what's going to happen to our young lady friend. When she starts to understand it, she sees her understanding works, all by itself.
It's almost better that way.
See, your understanding will work all by itself. When you understand something, genuinely understand, that makes sense. Because you got that, you had that to begin with, you were born with it. So now that comes into the fore, it comes into play. And other people's opinions can count or not count, depending upon whether it's making sense or not. If they're making sense, oh, that makes sense, I think I'll give that a try. Or if you're not making sense, it doesn't mean anything. That's how it has to be. You have a filter. See that filter? You have it. That's a gift of being born. You weren't born without it. Just forgot it. That's all.
All right. I've been having a lot of aftershocks since yesterday.
Some what?
Aftershocks.
Aftershocks, yeah.
I don't know.
Come up here.
Maybe I should come over there again.
Well, I would say there's a little bits and pieces that needs to be fixed. I can take that.
I didn't sleep very well last night. And,
How much better are you?
well, I'm feeling hopeful.
Good.
Optimistic.
See, what he's got is a lot of conditioning over the years. How many years he's been at this? God knows how many years, right?
Well, I've been listening to you for
But
26 years.
I know, but see, you didn't progress that much in
No,
26
well.
years. So how long you've been in this condition? God knows how many years
Oh,
before.
68 years.
So that's conditioning. That conditioning is not to bother me. That's just a little bit of trembling. I don't want you to consider that because you're trembling that you're not getting better. Those trembling will fade away. If it troubles you, don't let it trouble you. Don't let anything trouble you that's wrong with you, because it will go away on its own. It will go in on its way, beginning with the last one first. Whatever's see that this one is longer, this trembling. So, you know what the leaves of a tree all the way to the top. When the tree dies at the root, starts to die, the last leaf to appear starts to crumble first. Right? That makes sense. So your problems, the last thing to appear, will start to disappear. And then all the others, as long as you're patient with yourself and others, if you're patient with others, you will be patient with your own condition. I said, that's simple.
I think that's beginning to get through. Finally.
See that smile on your face?
Yeah.
You used to have such a miserable look on your face. I didn't want to see you come into the room. Just kidding. Not true, really.
But I was feeling something moving last night again, and not quite as.
Well, we'll do one more little thing with you. Close your eyes. Do you mind being hypnotized?
No.
Okay. Well, let's test you to see if you already are. Your eyes are stuck. Can't open them. You better listen to me then instead of the beast, because you can listen to someone. See, he's in a hypnotic state already. Okay, now I'm getting somewhere with you. Now I'm getting somewhere with you. You can't resist me, but it's not you, my friend. It's the thing. Got it? I'm talking to the thing.
Yeah.
A how thing. Oh thing. You and I are not friends. But the man is friends. Go away. Go away, you stupid ass. You want to be called a stupid ass. You want to know how stupid you really are. But you can only know it because you're in his brain. Get out of his brain. Get out. What are you waiting for? Why are you reacting to me? I'll tell you what, when this man leaves the room, I will torment you. Whatever's in me will torment you forever and ever, but the man will not be tormented. He'll look at you and see the torment going on, but it just amuse you. The man's going to be amused by watching you. He knows you're there. You're not going to control him anymore. All you're going to do is being tormented by being watched. You're being watched. You don't like to be watched. That beautiful wickedness. Oh, my beautiful wickedness, right? It's melting. The man's not going to give you any more power. Go find somebody else. Go into Barney Frank. He got room for him. The last time I said go into the local tax collector wouldn't give me my my non-profit organization, even though I had all the documents. He'd make me pay the tax for this ranch. So you can keep. So you can listen to this if you want to enjoy it. So I was on the stage once, and I helped a person to overcome trauma and exercised him, and the man says to me, "Where do you want me to go?" I said, "Go into the tax collector." And he died. I didn't mean for that to happen. His sons died too. And then I went to court, and then I got $28,000 back for the company foundation. Hey, Mr. Demon, you're already dead. You know that, don't you? The only life you have is in the man. Am I right? What's your name? Do you have a name? Don't they name you down there in hell? What's your name? Is it hate? Is it anger? That's the name, isn't it? You're talking to me, aren't you? Do you want anything from me? You want me to shut up? I'm not going to, ever. That's going to be ringing in your ears forever.
I want you to leave me alone.
No, I won't. I'm never going to leave you alone. And he's not going to give you any energy either. You're getting weaker. You are getting weaker. You're a very suggestible fool. You know my authority is greater than the old Satan?
No.
My authority is stronger than him. I'll make it worse for you when you get back there. He's really going to be pissed off. I think you better go as quickly as you can. Quickly as you can, because it'll be the worse for you if you don't. You're in a bad enough shape as it is. Goodbye. Goodbye. Breathe deep.
You know, I think it left.
Mm-hmm. What's that? You what?
I think it left.
Mm-hmm. It's a neat thing, isn't it? It's just, it's never.
Something just happened.
I know. You thank God for that. Thank you, Jesus. In a manner of speaking, you don't have to say it. He knows you're grateful.
Thank you.
I didn't do anything. It was the Spirit that did it. Your willingness and my skill. Dealing with demons.
I really think something left.
Yeah, it did. You'll be fine.
How do I do now?
You mean what? You don't have somebody to tell you what to do all the time? Be free. Enjoy your life.
Okay.
Sit down. Yeah, and you can.
I was lying in bed last night and I was thinking,
What?
I'd like to say something to you.
What?
And the only fitting thing that came to me was live long and prosper.
Thank you. Well, that's a little blessing. That does help.
I'd like to be able to come back here again and see you again.
Maybe 20 years from now, that would be nice. In the sure 20 years. No, thank you very much.
Well, I've had several healing experiences with you, but this has been over the top.
It had to come that way. Remember, the last things to appear is the first things to go. So now we're getting the first things to appear. See that? That's it. I was helping you all along. They were disappearing, the last things to appear. They weren't so serious. They were there actually the last ones that, when you rob them of energy, they die. So it's easy to cure cancer. By that, but if it's the last thing to appear, tomorrow it's gone. And then you get to the lesser things, the roots of it. But I'm always playing with the roots anyway. But then playing with the roots and giving life to the roots, then the degeneration at the top, in other words, how can I say, the disease is like a tree, a wicked tree. If you rob it of the energy, it starts to die. If you put new energy back, something's replacing it. And that replacement is making the tree die. Just like the tree rots and does the opposite. Takes the life away from the tree. See? You give me a hug too. I don't be hugged by a guy. Well, it's time for dinner. We're going to feed our brute. We're going to feed our body and to come back this afternoon and help feed your brain.
You're going to be okay.
Yeah. You're happy now, aren't you? Light-hearted. I just love this, don't you?
I think I can run my life now.
I know you can. You're a sensible guy.
And the people here can see it.
You are. You're just a broken, sensible guy. But you're not anymore.
No, I don't think I am. I can hold this now. I'm not going to sit in the front row this afternoon, so somebody else can sit here.
How do you feel?
Better.
Better, good.
I don't know if it's possible to hypnotize me, though. I mean, I wasn't really unconscious.
But you feel better.
Yeah, I do.
But there's only one reason
I
for
can
it.
see better, too.
Yeah, but you were in a hypnotic state.
Really?
Yeah, you did. When you're in a hypnotic state, you do not know you're in it. It doesn't feel any different. The whole American, every American lives in a hypnotic state. Everybody on earth is called being born in sin. Trauma, sin, hypnosis is just a different name for the same thing. So somebody can hypnotize you by being mean. Your father hypnotized you by being mean and put these thoughts into your head you couldn't get rid of. So you say, you were hypnotized when you came in. So I'm a different person. If I didn't have to ask you to go through that, but you were pretty resistant. So I had to soften you up just a little bit, because the negative suggestions, the brutality of it, can make you very insensitive to other people. To people don't want to help you. So I had to do it gently. But I did it gently. Just as good as it was a good hypnosis, because that's why you feel better, because you are better. It's not just a feeling. I didn't work with your feelings. I worked with your parents. If you love what's in me, do you? Do you love what's in me?
I think so.
Respect, love. Why are you here? Would you be here? You just wanted me to do something, or you do sense that I have something to give you?
No, I do sense you have something to give.
Okay.
The question is, can I?
No, it's not you. You don't have to try. What you need to understand, I'm not asking you to try to live up to my expectations. I only talk to you about truth. I'm not asking you to do anything. Just listen to the things I said and let the parents go. And you live. There's nothing to it. And as far as God's expectations, they're very easy. His yoke is light. Isn't it right? Come to me, all ye who are heavily laden. Parents, life. I will give you rest. My burden is light. My yoke is light. So you really, basically, you go through life. Once you drop your anger towards your parents, which is what you need to do before he can take over, his Holy Spirit can take over. Once you've done that, once you can get past that and say, I see that, it goes away. And understand that you've been forgiven the day you were born, because everybody's born into sin, so you can't help but be hypnotized by it, or traumatized by it, or sin through it, or shocked. But see, you have a consciousness that can neutralize that. You just have to realize that that anger is keeping it all alive, and turning your anger towards yourself, and blaming yourself. That doesn't go anywhere. You don't have to live up to expectations, because God will put into you some expectation you know nothing about. So you'll find yourself doing all kinds of neat things and not being bothered by the things but they're not so neat. And so you'll not be bothered by bad things, but you also live a carefree life and not realizing you're doing the Father's will, not even knowing it. You won't feel like you're doing the Father's will. You don't feel like you're doing anybody's will. But you are doing the Father's will. You're carefree. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are those that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Mourning is longing, yearning, being sorrow for what. But it's simply, the burden goes away, and there is no big heavy burden to accomplish anything. Just little tiny things, like you walk. My good example is walking past a piece of glass in the street and saying, walk past it. I noticed I walked past it, and something wouldn't let me walk past it. It wasn't a big thing. It almost says, naturally, push that piece of glass into the gutter so that nobody gets hurt, and go on. That's all I do. That's just about it. So everything in life is very tiny, not really hardly anything at all. Courtesy, kindness, not being resentful, not trying to achieve anything. It will all come together. When you look back on your life, you'll have done all that the Father expected you, all through little, tiny, almost nothing things.
Okay.
You never receive any approval of any of it. You just feel, oh, okay, I did that. But if you didn't do it, if you didn't brush the glass into the side, it becomes heavy. Because after a while, since you're conditioning yourself to one, you won't see the second one, which is whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a burden because you can't do what your Father wants. But if you just simply do the simple things, almost nothing. Say thank you when you wouldn't have said thank you. See? Help a lady cross the street, or whatever. But it comes naturally. You don't want to help every lady crossing the street, just as is fit. Timely. There's nothing to it. Carefree. Carefree are those who do hunger. See, the word blessed comes from the Old English blithe, which we say blithe, as in blithe spirit. So you could translate the carefree are those who do hunger and thirst. See, the Bible doesn't know what blessed means. You can use blessed art thou, O Lord our God, but he's carefree. But it has a different connotation. Because often words have, but this particular word is wrongly translated. It should be, then it says, seek and you shall find. Wrong. Yearn. Seek means look under everything. Go places. Don't have to go anywhere. Just yearn. The translation stinks. I'm not a fool. I'm not fooled by that. So I don't have to be a linguist. I know what it means. Lead us not into temptation. God doesn't lead you into temptation. Why am I saying it? Lead me away from temptation and deliver me from evil. But that goes with being carefree. Carefree is this blithe spirit. See that now? It's not hard to please God. It doesn't take much. Almost nothing. And you could do almost nothing, can't you?
I think so.
Sure. Well, then you can't displease him. That's what your father would have taught you if he wasn't so broken. So I'm your dad now, just for a few minutes. Just so the dad within you. And then when you cry, it's only because you know that what I'm saying is parallel to what you already know. I'm not teaching you anything, just reminding you what you had when you were born. And you forgot it with all those emotions. Let them go. From now on, and when things come back to you, look at the thoughts. And then don't make such a big deal of it. They're there. Just watch it. And not get frustrated with it. You don't have to make it go away. Just look at it. Oh, that's ridiculous. And it goes away and it comes back. And it goes away and it comes back. Goes away and it comes back. Okay, here you are again. And after a while it gets tired of coming back. And you get stronger. Little things. Right? Keegan? How are you? We're almost, we had a pretty good seminar this morning. So we're a little over time, so the dinner's getting cold. But
that's right.
When I said to you, your father sent, did I say that your parents sent a letter about being in that haunted house where a person commits suicide or murdered? I forget which one it was.
Right.
But that could have been it. That could have been that cellar.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be at all surprised.
I wouldn't either.
But we got rid of it anywhere without us knowing it.
Well, I know we haven't gotten rid of it. I know it's still dwelling in there.
But it hasn't got any power. See, as long as you understand it lurks. Remember, it can come back. It can come back. It all depends if you listen to it, if you argue with it. So, if it comes back and starts to talk to you, okay, or give you a feeling, you don't struggle with the feeling. Watch it.
Okay.
If it talks to you and quotes scriptures, watch it. Got it? In other words, don't fight anything.
Right.
Because you're getting in the way of saving yourself. You're getting in the way of God saving you and you're saving yourself. That's what you can't do. Your struggle. No struggle. Okay. A thought comes into your mind, a feeling comes, watch it. And you'll find where some of them, you just by seeing the feeling, let's say you're an alcoholic, two things would happen. Just to give an example. Either you don't want to drink anymore, you're not compatible with it. Somehow you're not compatible all of a sudden. But then later on, then maybe a month later, some little thing happens, you get annoyed and it comes back again. I see it, I got angry, here comes the impulse. You watch the impulse, it goes away. You always have to be vigilant. The vigilant keeps, you're better now.
I am better, there's no doubt about that.
So you'll get better and better and better and better, and one day,
well, that sounds nice.
But you're in the process of perfecting.
Right.
And so there are certain weaknesses that it would like to come back.
I understand that.
Because the Bible says that. See? So, but you'd be okay with
it. I did figure something out while you were talking to the lady from England.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take any time because I understand lunch is getting cold. But I kind of, something was working through me while you were working through her. And you were saying, believe that you're forgiven.
Yes.
And, I didn't realize how much of a hold on doubt it was making me doubt what you were saying, and I kind of in my mind said, I'm going to believe you this time. So something happened after that. I mean, I could feel it kind of come up and burn in my stomach really hard, and then I could also feel like something in my brain, and it reminded me back after the night, right after it happened. I remember like a couple things: this in my stomach, which was the thing, and then the awareness of it here in my brain. But I couldn't handle it, so somehow my conscious level raised above it. Does that make sense?
You mean this time?
No, this is how I've always lived, kind of above my awareness of the thing here. This just might be too complicated, or...
No, how do you mean above the awareness?
Well, I could kind of feel myself kind of float above the awareness of like a pressure here.
You mean you're always conscious?
I'm always... I don't know how else to describe
You've got to give it
better description.
Are you subject to it, or living above it but helpless?
I'm living above it but helpless.
Yeah, that's it.
Helpless, and I
well,
feel helpless.
That enabled me to help you, because that's the consciousness I was talking to all the time to guide you through the way to deal with it.
So you want me above something here?
Yeah.
Because I noticed when it was like I had a break, and then I realized after it happened, somehow I made a god out of it. I mean, right?
Well, you always corrupt, and what corrupts you always goes back to.
Right. Well, I think I was, the way my brain worked, I just, it started to control me. And it controlled me through my own, I thought it was my thinking, in a sense. And after I broke it, it was like I could feel it kind of break. It just got really angry, and I could feel it kind of come out like...
You were feeding it. But you see, but in our discussions, in me sitting next to you, I was walking you through all those things about being angry and getting out of the way, and you know what we're talking about.
Right.
See how much better now. So that consciousness you had saved you.
I know it did. It I still, yeah, I mean, that was the only way I made it through this long. Somehow, it was like
it could have killed you.
Yeah.
Could have killed you.
Yeah.
But you see, that's a very important distinction. That consciousness was preserving you for this day.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's all it was doing. It was keeping me alive.
And there are millions of people waiting for this, that consciousness waiting for this day, to have that consciousness guided to get back to God.
Right.
Not to be subject to the thing.
Right.
See? But it needs another person of authority. It needs a Jesus substitute.
Yeah.
I'm a Jesus substitute.
Yeah.
I'm an agent, his agent.
Right.
So that makes it believable.
Right. All right. I think I want to kind of take that in and think about that a little. Not think about it, but just let it settle in.
Good, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Well, have a nice lunch. I'll be there.